Hello everyone, nice for having me again on Oberon. It's a while ago since my last video on Oberon, and I used this break to make up my mind how to tell you a little bit more about the Oberon gadget system. I already told you something about the gadget system in my past videos, but I came to the point where I observed that this gadget system, this framework, is so powerful and also so complex and not very well documented that it's worth to dive a little deeper and make a sequel just about the Oberon gadgets. And that's what I'm going to do now. I will tell you something more in general about the Oberon gadget system and a little more how to use the Columbus Object Inspector, how to link different Oberon gadgets with each other, and after this general intro I decided to make one video about every gadget you can find on the system, to tell you in detail what you can do with it and what its structure is. Okay, but now let's start with some general informations. Don't be confused when I take a look to my screen from time to time, because I made a list here, of course in Oberon, and I have some items I've written down here in the script file, not to forget to tell you everything I want to tell you about the Oberon gadget system. And that's the reason why I have to take a look sometimes at this text document. Okay, you already know that most part of the Oberon system is text oriented. You can have text as commands in every corner of your display screen and you can activate them. The gadget system is different. The gadget system is something that you normally call a GUI, a graphical user environment, user interface, to deal with the operating system in a way that you are used to from other operating systems. Okay, the gadget system is entirely part of the Oberon, native Oberon installation, so you have everything on your hands that you need to have to construct suitable user interfaces for your applications. The Oberon system is a framework. That means that it's a base structure that provides you with all the tools you need to dive into this programming stuff in Oberon and make a good user interface. Gadgets are components, or let's say objects. Objects means that is something that is instantiated, and they have attributes and they have persistency. That means you can store a gadget with its respective state it has actually to disk. You can file it to disk and then can retrieve it with its last state when you save the gadget to disk. The programmer uses gadgets to write documents and applications. In Oberon, documents and applications are not very much different. A document is more or less a text file, of course, and an application is something you can do. It's a program running some kind of function. In Oberon it's a little bit intermixed, because you can embed an application in a text document, or you can see a document as the application itself. But this is something that we should cover in a later video. For the moment, let's take it that gadgets are dealing with both sides of the coin, with documents and with applications. And so you have the opportunity, for example, that you can write a text file, let's say tutorial, for an application you wrote, and you can embed this application inside the tutorial. So it's really executable inside this tutorial. It's really something great that modern operating systems didn't have for a long time. And gadgets are universal. You can have them everywhere, and an application normally is not just one gadget, it's a bunch of gadgets. That each gadget is fulfilling some kind of functions. And for this reason it's also possible that you can take a gadget from an existing application and use it for your own application. So it's a total flexibility on the system. Now some words to the gadget classification. The first gadget I want to mention are visual gadgets. As the name implies, these are gadgets that you can see. You can see them because they are part of the Oberon display space. Everything embedded in the Oberon display space is something you can see. And you can subdivide the visual gadgets in two different subclasses. One are the elementary gadgets, like let's say buttons and scroll bars or color pickers, something that is in some kind atomic. You can't subdivide it anymore. And the other class are the container gadgets. The container gadgets are something that gives a room or place for other gadgets to be contained inside this frame. Let's say it's frame, it's a space or an area. When those gadgets are contained in a container gadget, they are called children's or descendants. An example is the normal panel in Oberon. You already saw a panel in my Feigenbaum application. Or a text panel, for example, is something similar. It's a panel that contains text and also gadgets like, for example, a button. Okay, besides the visual gadgets, we have also the model gadget. So what is a model gadget? A model gadget is also an object that describes or has a structure that implements a basic data type, for example, an integer or a Boolean value. You could say, why the hell do I need this? Because I can use an integer or a Boolean value in my program without any problems. Why should I use a gadget model of an integer? Well, the reason is very simple. The gadget model provides you the persistency. You can store this. For example, let's say you have some kind of setup in your program. Setup contains integer values and Boolean values, text. And when you store these informations in gadgets and not in normal variables, you have the possibility to save them. You can use the persistency of the objects. And the second is the concept of the model view controller. It's the concept that all modern operating systems and also program languages rely on. It's the separation between a data object and its visual representation. So it means what the programmer needs to know is where he can store the data, for example, an integer value. That's the thing he's interested in when he writes this program. The user is not interested in the data, he's interested in the visualization of the data because he wants to see it. Therefore, this concept is splitting this, let's say, the object into two different objects, so the visualization object, which is a visual gadget, and the model gadget. And both objects are interlinked. I show you in this video how this is made. And every time the model gadget is updated with a new value, the visual gadget takes this, let's say, automatically and displays it. So the programmer doesn't have to deal with the GUI itself. He can concentrate on the algorithmic structure of his program. Okay, and there's a third class of gadgets I just want to mention here. I won't dive into this issue in this video, but later. These are camera gadgets. A camera gadget is something that gives you a view on some existing, let's say, configuration of visual gadgets. When you have a panel, for example, with different visual gadgets, and let's say the panel is too big to fit on your screen, then you can provide two different camera gadgets, one show you the upper half and one show you the lower half, for example. So you can work on the same data by different views. Okay? But this is something for a future video. Okay, now let's do some practice. Okay, the most important tool when you want to make your own user interface is the gadget panel. The gadget panel is a tool that provides all those gadgets that are part of the Oberon system. You can open the gadgets panel by going on this Finder button, left click and going down to gadgets panel and opening it. Okay, I already have a gadget panel open here on my right screen, so let's use this because we have a little more space here. Selecting and placing gadgets is very simple. The main rule is you use your mouse pointer to specify at which place you want to, at which position you want to place the gadget. When you found it, you left click, so the mouse pointer is placed on the coordinates you want to have your gadget. You can see this little cross here, and then you go over to the gadgets panel and you select the gadgets by browsing through this list, and you can see all those view gadgets here and all those model gadgets here. Let's forget the model gadgets. For this moment we concentrate on the viewer gadgets. So when you middle click on, for example, button, you see the button appears here, and I can place a second button, let's say here, and with the use of the mouse you can drag or resize those gadgets. When you go on one of these sides, on the left side, on the right side, up or down, you can grab the gadget by clicking and holding with the left mouse button. You can drag it around and drop it wherever you want. When you want to resize it, you have to use the middle mouse button. So place the mouse cursor at the corner, not on the side, on the corner. You want to drag and then middle click and hold the key, and then you can resize. Okay, so that's one function, placing and resizing. When you are arranging the gadgets on your screen, you may want to align them somehow. To align the gadgets, you have an align function here in the gadgets toolkit. First you need to select the gadgets you want to align. So please remember, selecting something in Oberon is always done with the right mouse button. So go on the gadget button number 1, press the right mouse button, go on gadget number 2, press the right mouse button, and then we go to the align button here in the gadgets toolkit, click and hold it pressed, and then you see you have align operation top, left, bottom, vertical, horizontal. So let's say we want to align it left. Okay, now see it's aligned. And now let's say we also want to make it the same size. You can see it's the same height, same width or same size. Let's choose same size. So both buttons now have the same size. Now we can deselect by pressing F2. And now a second feature I want to show you. When you drag those gadgets around, maybe there's some configuration where they may overlap, something like this. So maybe you say, oh, that's okay, I want this, but I would prefer if the button in the background would be in the foreground. Then you can select this button and you go here to this front button. By clicking this front button, the gadget will be put to the front of the screen and the unchecked gadget will go to the background. Click here and you see it works. You can deselect it. Now you can select the second button gadget and bring it back to front. Okay. The next feature the Gadget Toolkit provides is that you can change the view. That means you can replace an already placed gadget by another view gadget. So let's select this button gadget and then you can choose another one from this list. Let's choose Sisyphus. Select this name Sisyphus by clicking with the right mouse button, so you can see it's highlighted with a red background, and now click on change view and now you can see the Sisyphus walking. There's a little comic character Mr. Niklaus Wirth designed. His endless walking is something like an animated GIF, and it's really funny, I think. And let's use Sisyphus to show you another feature, how to copy gadgets. Of course you can make more copies when you pick more gadgets from the same type from this viewer list and you place them around here on the screen. But there's also an easier way. We can select the gadget you want to copy and place the mouse pointer on the coordinates where you want the copy to appear, and then click on deep copy. Yeah, deselect it and now you have two running Sisyphus. So what does it mean, deep copy? Deep copy means that the complete structure, that means the complete visual gadget and the complete model gadget behind this Sisyphus are copied, including the names, and placed on a new coordinate. So when you want to work with these objects, first you have to rename them, of course, because you would have name conflicts otherwise. There's another way to copy an object that is a little bit easier. Select the gadget you want to copy and then go over to another location and press the left mouse button and interclick with the middle mouse button. Now deselect. Now you can see you have another copy, but this copy is somehow different. It's not a deep copy, it's what's in Oberon called a shallow copy. A shallow copy means that just the visual gadget is copied, but the object, the model gadget behind it stays the same. So by this copying process you are able, for example, to make different visualizations on different places on your screen of the same variables. This may be something useful when you have a huge filled panels with a lot of informations and you want to place the important informations on different parts on the panel. Okay. Now I want to show you a little gimmick, because we are already acting on Sisyphus. When you middle click Sisyphus, one of those three guys here, you see the following. This is the Oberon screensaver that gets automatically kicked into action when you click on Sisyphus. This is a really fine feature. I found this by accident. Press escape to terminate this screensaver session. Okay, now let's dive deeper into the Gadgets Toolkit. Let's place a scroll bar here at this point. Scroll bar. Okay, let's drag it a little down. Okay, now you have a scroll bar and you can push a scroll up and down as you want. When you want to get into this object and change its attributes, you need to select it and you have to raise Columbus. That's your object inspector. So click on Columbus and Columbus shows you Oh, okay. Columbus shows you all those attributes of these freshly generated gadget. So let's give it a name. Let's name it test scroll. Click on apply to make the changes active. And also let's change the background color to 1. So entry 1 from the color table means the scroll bar background should become red. Okay, yeah. Now we close this and we deselect, and now you have a red scroll bar. Now let's select it again, open Columbus, and let's take a look at this links section. The links section describes or gives you access to the model gadget that is linked to this scroll bar. Because you can apply different models for most of the gadget, there's nothing in here. You can see all those crosses here. That means we have 4, let's say, attributes here. We have the min, the max, and the step attribute. That means the minimum value, the maximum value, and the increment step. And the model of this scroll bar itself that can be linked to a gadget, to a model gadget. So you could imagine, for example, you could link a scroll bar to an integer gadget, or you could link it to a real gadget when you have real numbers, or maybe even to a Boolean gadget that you have 0 and everything. The difference from 0 is 1 or is true. Okay, but you see currently there is no link here. Everything is empty. Cross means that it's empty. Okay, so now we're going to change this. So let's close this for now, and let's keep this scroll bar selected, and now we can apply a model. So now we go over to this right column here of the model gadgets, and we choose integer. We click integer with the middle mouse button. You see the scroll bar handle move down to 0, and I can show you immediately what the reason is. Let's start Columbus again. So when you take a look at Columbus, that's not so good. Yeah, that's better. And we go over to the links section again. You can see now you have some kind of oval button here. That means now there is something in the model is placed here in the links section. So you can click on this model button, and now you can see another screen here, and you can see the generator as basic gadgets new integer. That means an integer gadget now is the object model. You could give it a name. You could say, okay, let's say integer, test integer. It has no use for us now, but it's just for the sake of giving a name, and you can apply a value here. So let's say we want to apply the value 5. And now I can see the handle of the scroll bar moved up a little bit, because now it's the position 5. Okay. Good. Now we have a visual gadget and we have a linked object model. So what can we do with it? Okay, I can tell you what we can do with it. Let's say we would place another gadget here. Let's say we will place an LCD gadget, this one here. This is a gadget coming from the audio application dealing with the CD tracks of a CD. That's why you have those digit representation here. Now we select the digit gadget and we go over to Columbus and we give it a name. Let's say test LCD, and we directly dive into the links section, and you can also see there's nothing linked here because the model area has a cross, And now I want to link this LCD gadget to the scroll bar in a way that the scroll bar value is displayed here in the LCD gadget. How are we going to do this? This is simpler as you would think. Just take the scroll bar gadget by clicking the middle mouse button here on the side. Sorry, I got confused with my fingers. Okay. Click the middle mouse button with your middle finger and now drag it over up to this point here, to the field model, and now interclick with the left mouse button. You can see you have a square here, some kind of square button. That means that this whole model here that is behind the scroll bar, which is an integer gadget, is now linked to this LCD screen. So let's click apply and close. And now display. And now you can see it has a value 5. If we now are changing the value, you see nothing is happening. The problem is that in this configuration, using gadgets without a surrounding application around it means that the gadgets is not getting any update commands. So that means, of course, this gadget has a new value, but it isn't displayed in this moment. We can force an update when we click on this gadget with the left mouse button. You can see now we have 65. And we can drag it down again, and you can see the contents of the LCD display is following very nicely what we are doing here with the scroll bar. And now let's drive the madness a little further. Let's choose another gadget. Let's choose let's choose progress meter. We place a progress meter here. Let's do some lining up here. Okay. Let's select it, go into Columbus, and we name it, for example, test progress. Okay. And now we do the same which we did with the LCD gadget with the progress meter gadget. We go into the link section, we middle click the scroll bar gadget, we drag it over to the model field, we interclick with the left mouse button, and you see we have a model here and the value field is already updated but it isn't shown at this moment. When you close this and when we reopen Columbus, you can see, oh, I forgot to click apply, so we have to do this again. Okay, take this over model and we click apply, and now you can see model and value are both linked to the scroll bar, and you already can see the scroll bar displays the same value of the scroll bar. The LCD display is out of phase now, so clicking into the LCD gadget makes an update, and now you can see we can drag it up and down and everything works fine. We have one issue here. When we drag this handle up to the top, we get the value of 100. 100 can't be displayed by this gadget anymore because we only have 2 digits, but it's no problem. We select it, we go into Columbus, and you can see one of those attributes here is the amount of digits. Let's change it to 3. Let's click apply and let's close it, and now it's a little bit narrow, so let's drag it a little to the right. Well, not so much, and now we have 100. To make this a little nicer, we gonna put all the stuff into a panel so you can see how the container panel works. So let's place a panel, for example, here. Okay, We enlarge it a little bit. And now we want to put this stuff here. This is not just dragging over and let it drop. You have again to activate and consume interclick. That means you catch this gadget with the middle mouse button, click it and hold it, drag it over, and then interclick with the left mouse button. And now it's part of the gadget panel. Do the same with the LCD gadget, and last but not least, the progress meter. Okay. A minute ago I showed you that one of those properties here, or those attributes here in the scroll bar, the link section, can also be linked to a model. So you can see that the min, max and step attributes can also be linked to a model. So we're going to take advantage of this and we'll do some improvements here. So let's add another scroll bar, this one here. Okay, we select it and we're gonna put in an integer model gadget like this. Okay, now we can give it a name. Let's say test scroll 2, apply, and now we deselect and reselect again our first scroll bar. We go into Columbus and dive into the link section, and now we're gonna drag this scroll bar here into this max attribute. Oh, but before we do this, we have to do a correction here. Select this scroll bar again, and let's say the min value should be 100 and the max value should be 200. Okay. And start value also 100. So deselect, select this scroll bar, gadget, start Columbus, dive in the link section, and now here we go. Middle click, dragging over to maximum, consume interclick, and we're done. Let's say apply. So if everything is correct now, I don't know if it's really working, in this configuration the max value of the scroll bar is 100. So let's check this. This is 0, it's okay, and maximum is 100. Okay, so let's go to 0, and now we drag this up a little bit, and now we take this scroll bar up again, and you can see it's not working. Okay, seems to be some problem with the update process here. Now it works. You can see the second scroll bar is about position 140, and the left scroll bar took this maximum value of 140. These seem to be update issues somehow. Yeah, okay, now it works. Okay. Okay, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again on the next episode, and we're going to dive into these the explanation of every single gadget on the Oberon system. Okay, bye for now, thanks.